My name is Mentzer, and I'm the CEO of PharmNovo, a clinical stage drug development company. Our vision is to improve people's quality of life through innovative, sustainable, and effective pain relief medicines. And I'm very pleased to be here today to present our company and our lead candidate, PN6047. Today, a phase 2 ready drug for neuropathic pain, as well as other chronic pain states, with clear first-in-class potential. In short, we develop quite novel drugs for neuropathic pain treatment. We have today a team with an extensive drug development experience. The lead candidate, as I said, has first-in-class potential, and we have exclusivity and patent protection in all major markets until 2041, and that includes the expected extensions. Following a completed phase 1, we are now targeting to move ahead into phase 2A proof of concept in neuropathic pain to be the first indication, and that to start by the end of 2024. And currently we are raising a Series A to finance these studies. Now, there is a huge unmet medical need for patients suffering from neuropathic pain, and neuropathic pain ruins these people's lives, both physically, socially, and many times even financially. It affects up to 10% of the adult population worldwide. And it's also a quite big burden for society. If we elevate the view a bit and talk about chronic pain, it's estimated to have a societal impact of some 300 billion euros annually. And neuropathic pain is a substantial part of that. Unfortunately, current treatments are only poorly effective and associated with severe side effects. What is commonly first-line treatments today is anti-epileptics, could also be antidepressants. So typically, a neuropathic pain patient coming to a pain physician, he would or she would be recommended to take pregabalin, for example. And here you have a lot of different challenges, and as I said, only poorly effective in maybe a third of the patients. If we look at market size, chronic pain market estimated to double in the next 10 years to 140 billion. It's one of the most underinvested areas, the pain segment in our market, and neuropathic pain represents some 10% of this. And the typical population we are targeting is patients suffering from the symptoms of allodynia and hyperalgesia. That's a quarter of this population in the neuropathic pain segment. So we believe we have a potential game changer in PN6047. It's the latest generation of a delta opioid receptor agonist. It's a DORA. And it very effectively reduces neuropathic pain in animal models. And specifically, most of these tests are actually testing allodynia and hyperalgesia, like the sciatic nerve ligation model. We have recently then completed a quite large phase 1 clinical study here in Sweden. And we've seen that it's fully safe and tolerable at exposure levels that we can predict to be effective in humans. So how does this work? Yeah. PN6047, as I said, is a delta opioid receptor agonist, so it activates the delta receptor. And the big thing here is that it's extremely selective. It's more than 100,000-fold potent on the delta receptor. So it basically doesn't touch the mu or the kappa receptor. And that's one of the unique parts. So we get the pain relief effects, but we basically completely avoid all the risks associated with touching the mu receptor. And on top of that, we have a downstream signaling, mainly through the G protein route. And that secures that we get the things that we want to see, which is pain relief, also some antidepressant effects, some anti-migraine and some anti-cough effects also in this. And we avoid tolerance and some other side effects, negative ones, that are primarily associated with the downstream signaling through the arrestin side. So the combination of this is the uniqueness of our small molecule that was developed by Bengt and the close team in the early days and selected to be the lead candidate. So taking a look at just one graph on potency, this is sciatic nerve ligation model, which is basically testing allodynia. Highly effective in allodynia in rodent models of neuropathic pain, oral dosing, and we have a very good effect in low milligram doses per kilo. And over 3 weeks of dosing, no analgesic tolerance seen at all. Same effect. The regulatory toxicology was super clean in rats and dogs, and we have also seen, as I said before, that we have a good safety and tolerability in the phase 1. This is kind of interesting. This is again, then we were fully safe and tolerable in the phase 1. This is the average plasma concentration in the last MAD cohort, where we can see that we first of all have, I think I have a pointer. We have a steady state building up here after some 4 days approximately. And we have a average concentration level here, that's a top red dot line here of 157 nanomolar, translates to some 30 nanomolars in free fraction. And what is interesting is to compare with this line, where we have maximum efficacy in the rat SNL model at the concentration of 50 nanomolar, which is corresponding to some 1.5 nanomolar in free fraction. So we have a really nice therapeutic window of some 20 times here, which we can have as a conclusion coming out of the phase 1. As I said early on, we have other indications that are of interest, and one of the most recent that has built up, and that's built up through a collaboration with US partners, is opioid withdrawal syndrome, which is kind of interesting that we see potential to possibly treat opioid withdrawal with another kind of opioid. And this is based on a collaboration initiated with 2 top universities in the US and funded by NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And we've been running that preclinical program now for 1.5 years with quite promising results. And here we see 2 of the pain models that have been tested, 2 different hyperalgesia models, where we can see that in this one, we definitely bring down the pain significantly, and in this cephalic model, we completely bring down the withdrawal pain that has been caused after morphine. So this is a very interesting program that we are running, and NIDA has started to express potential interest to also be part of funding clinical studies in opioid withdrawal syndrome. Oops, sorry. So where we are now, as I said, we are raising funds to perform our phase 2A proof of concept study in neuropathic pain, and if capital is available, we will raise enough also to move into POC 2 and 3. And following a successful proof of concept, our target is to seek partnership with pharma for further development and commercialization of PN6047, and that either through a trade sale or out licensing. And a lot of current deals in the last couple of years indicate that a potential total deal value would be well above 500 million euros. We've built up our team quite significantly over the last couple of years, and especially, of course, in the clinical development side. So we have today both a project leader, Jesper Kjærulf, who has 20 years experience from Lundbeck, and taking drugs all the way from discovery to market. He was project lead for Trintellix at Lundbeck with huge experience. And we also have a CMO today, a pain physician who's treating these patients every day, but he has industry background from AstraZeneca, 12 years in drug development in the pain field as well. All people in lead functions in our team have 20 to 30 years of drug development experience from pharma. So to sum up, PharmNovo and PN6047, our lead candidate, is a great investment opportunity. We target a huge unmet medical need in a strongly growing market. We have first-in-class potential. We can today say that PN-6047 is safe and tolerable, also in humans. And we can conclude also that so far we have evidence that we are completely different to conventional opioids. And we also tested all the gold standards on abuse potential. There is no such thing associated with PN-6047. We are phase 2 ready with a large therapeutic window to move forward. And last but not least, I would like to mention the team again. We have a team with more than 300 years drug development experience altogether. And the team is ready to take it forward and make it happen. Thank you so much. And there is a little bit of time if there are any questions here.
Exactly. Thank you, Per. There is indeed some time for some questions. I actually have a question. Maybe you could explain in a little bit more detail what is allodynia for those who might not be aware.
It's a good question. Sometimes when you use words, you don't think about that. It might be completely unknown, but that's actually pain on the skin from something that shouldn't be painful. So these patients, they cannot put on a shirt without extreme pain. And some of these people, they call us, of course, and I've spoken to quite a few because my telephone number is on our website. Some people have been suffering for 5-10 years and are basically living at home most of the time because they can't get dressed properly. Like they can't go to work, basically. So pain on the skin from something that shouldn't be painful.
How much of is there a psychological factor here? Because you often hear about pain that is sometimes more of a psychological effect rather than an actual, thank you, like a pain effect.
You might be touching the fact that there is, I'm not a scientist in that respect, but there is a close relationship between depression or anxiety, depression and pain. And sometimes you get circles in here. So people who are maybe depressed, they have a higher tendency many times to develop different kind of pains. And a pain patient definitely develops anxiety or depression. One of the last persons I spoke to that called in was almost suicidal after 10 years of this kind of pain.
Well, going back to allodynia, why is that your main focus here?
That's a really good question, because pain is one of the most difficult areas in drug development, I believe. It's so subjective, difficult to measure. We don't have any clear biomarkers, etc. So in collaboration with our key opinion leaders, some world experts, we targeted to go for neuropathic pain and patients with allodynia and hyperalgesia because there is ways of semi-quantitatively measuring this. So there are certain instruments you can use where you can put pressure on the skin, or you can also drag something on, and then you have a scale related to that pressure. So you could actually come a bit closer to defining what kind of pain level they have. So that's a strategic choice.
Yeah. So shifting a little bit, someone is curious about your exit strategy. If you could elaborate a little bit about that.
Yeah, as I said, we are targeting to team up with pharma. Would that not be possible to find the right partner straight after a proof of concept number 1? We will of course look into further development into phase 2B or so, but in general, this is a big pharma project. It's going to have a lot of different kind of challenges, of course, as always, but it's definitely going to be a very, very big development project. And we believe that we need pharma to be there and partner up.
Sure. Yeah. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for questions, but...
You have more?
There are a couple more.
Okay, yeah.
If somebody wants to during the break, they can.
Yeah, no, I'll be around all afternoon, so happy to talk to anyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Per.
Thank you so much.